For 18 years, I thought I knew my wife. We shared dreams, struggles, and the unshakable trust that only time can build. Or at least that's what I believed. But betrayal doesn't always come in the form of another man. Sometimes it comes disguised as sacrifice, wrapped in secrecy, and carried out by the person you trusted most. When I discovered that my wife had carried a child that wasn't ours, conceived for someone else, it shattered not only our marriage but everything I thought love meant. This is the story of how one secret destroyed 18 years of loyalty. My name is Michael, and for most of my adult life I thought I had been one of the lucky ones. I married my high school sweetheart, Emily, a woman who had been my best friend long before she was my wife. We built a life brick by brick: college, jobs, a modest but cozy house, and eventually 2 children who became the center of our world. Our marriage wasn't perfect, but it was steady. We were partners, navigating the storms of bills, sleepless nights with crying babies, and the endless responsibilities that come with adulthood. Emily was my anchor, the one person who knew me better than anyone else. Her sister, Rachel, had always been part of our lives too. Rachel was younger than Emily, fiercely independent but often plagued with personal struggles. She had married later, but unlike us, she and her husband couldn't conceive. I knew they had tried for years, enduring countless medical procedures, heartbreaks, and hopes that were crushed again and again. I sympathized, but like most family matters, I stayed on the sidelines, offering comfort when I could but never digging too deep. I never could have imagined how far Emily would go. In the months before everything unraveled, I noticed changes in my wife. She grew secretive, distracted, her phone glued to her hand more often than usual. When I asked, she brushed it off. Work stress, exhaustion, or helping her sister with personal matters. I believed her because why wouldn't I? After 18 years, suspicion wasn't in my vocabulary. She started spending long weekends away, saying she was helping Rachel with appointments. I assumed it was counseling or something medical. I trusted Emily completely. My focus was on work, on making sure our kids were stable as they entered their teenage years. Life felt routine, ordinary, until the ordinary cracked wide open. The first real crack appeared one evening at dinner. Emily excused herself abruptly when her phone buzzed. I caught a glimpse of Rachel's name flashing on the screen. That wasn't strange in itself. They were sisters. But the look on Emily's face, a mix of guilt and urgency, unsettled me. Weeks later, a friend of mine mentioned he'd seen Emily near a fertility clinic downtown. My stomach nodded, but I dismissed it at first. Surely, she was just supporting Rachel. Still, the unease grew heavier each day. The breaking point came when I accidentally found a medical envelope tucked away in her drawer. It wasn't addressed to me, but curiosity gnawed at me. Inside, I saw documents, blood work, pregnancy reports, ultrasound images. My heart pounded in my chest as I flipped through them. The name on the patient line was Emily's. I froze. My wife was pregnant. But how? Why hadn't she told me? And worse, why was Rachel listed as the legal guardian on one of the documents? I confronted her that night, my voice trembling with a mixture of fear and rage. She broke down immediately, confessing through sobs that she had agreed to be a surrogate for Rachel. That while I was at work, while I believed she was spending weekends supporting her sister emotionally, she was carrying her sister's child. My world blurred as she explained the details. Rachel and her husband had provided the embryo. Emily had carried it. She insisted it wasn't infidelity. It was sacrifice, a gift to her sister. But to me, it was betrayal of the deepest kind. For 9 months, she had hidden this from me. For 9 months, she had lied every single day, looking me in the eyes while carrying another man's child inside her body. It didn't matter that it wasn't conceived naturally. It didn't matter that she claimed it was an act of compassion. What mattered was that the woman I trusted with my life had gone behind my back to make a decision that changed everything. The birth was the moment that broke me completely. I wasn't even told when she went into labor. I found out from Rachel's husband, who slipped up and mentioned it in passing when I ran into him at a grocery store. My chest tightened as I raced to the hospital, every nerve in my body on fire. When I arrived, Emily was already holding the newborn in her arms. She looked exhausted, pale, but glowing in a way I hadn't seen in years. Rachel stood nearby, tears streaming down her face as she reached for the baby. And then it hit me. My wife, my Emily, handed the baby over. Not to me, not to us, to her sister. The image seared itself into my mind. The woman I had built a life with, the mother of my children, cradling a baby born from her body, only to place it into another woman's arms as if I didn't exist. I stood frozen in the doorway, a storm of emotions tearing me apart. Anger, grief, humiliation. 18 years of marriage, and she had shut me out of the most intimate, life-altering secret imaginable. That night, I didn't return home. I drove aimlessly, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. I kept asking myself the same question. How do you forgive something like this? How do you move forward when trust has been ripped from the foundation of your marriage? In the weeks that followed, Emily tried to explain. She said she hadn't told me because she feared I'd say no, that I'd forbid her from helping her sister. She claimed it was love that drove her decision. Love for her family, love for her sister. But where was the love for me? For us, trust isn't just about fidelity. It's about openness, honesty, and making choices together. By hiding this from me, Emily didn't just betray our marriage. She betrayed the partnership we had built for nearly 2 decades. Eventually, I made the hardest choice of my life. I filed for separation. Not because I hated her, but because I could no longer live with the shadow of her secret. I couldn't look at her without remembering the lies, the ultrasound images hidden in drawers, the baby she handed over while I stood in the dark. Our children struggled to understand. I told them the truth carefully, shielding them from the ugliest parts, but they knew enough. They saw the cracks in our family, and those cracks cut deep. Today I'm rebuilding. Slowly, painfully, but with the knowledge that honesty is the only foundation worth building on. Emily and I are no longer together, though we remain connected through our kids. Rachel has her child now, and I don't begrudge that baby its place in the world. What I begrudge is the way it came to be, the lies, the secrecy, the betrayal of a marriage that once meant everything. If you take anything from my story, let it be this. Secrets, no matter how noble the intent, can destroy the strongest bonds. Love cannot survive in the dark. So I ask you, if the person you trusted most hid something this big from you, would you ever be able to forgive?